It's hard to argue with a 123.4 rating. Now, look, I understand it was against mostly 2s and 3s, still Baltimore starters, but look, it's a young quarterback.
He still could have struggled. I mean, even quarterbacks struggle. Young quarterbacks struggle against 2s and 3s
QB
sometimes.
Trying to find his way, and it was a pretty encouraging performance as we get closer and closer to Week 1. You're welcome to call us in the MGM National Harbor Listener Lines, 800-636-1067.
I think you have to be encouraged by what you've seen throughout his career. When he's been on the field, he was good in last year's preseason. He was good in the Dallas game, and he's been good in 2 preseason games. What I said earlier, I'll stand by it. I just pause and hesitate to anoint him as the real deal, which I think you threw out there as the real deal, until I see it consistently in the regular season.
Right.
If he does this for 4 to 6 games in the regular season, then I'll buy it. The problem is, on the other side of the field, Josh Johnson looked just as good as Sam Howell, and we know he's Josh Johnson.
I mean, Josh Johnson looked okay, but I didn't think I don't know. I didn't think he was impressive. As impressive. I thought he was fine.
I mean, he had his completion percentage similar to Sam Howell's. He threw for more yards per pass. He had 2 touchdowns.
That was a bad pass,
Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, it was like a 50-50 ball.
I like Josh Johnson. I root for him. But whatever. Okay. You want to compare him to Josh?
If you're Ron, you have to be encouraged that maybe your cheap quarterback that you picked in the 5th round, maybe you found the guy that you can actually build the team around, and then you don't have to pay a ton for your quarterback. If it works out.
You don't have to worry about it for 3 years.
The only reason why people are
years.
pausing, and we've been talking about it for months now, is because he's got the 5th-round pick label.
That's
and
definitely
until
part of it.
he gets through a regular season or 2, sort of somewhat unscathed, and can ditch that, everything's gonna be cautioned with that. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, Kirk Cousins dealt with a lot of the same stigma.
Well, Kirk also threw a bunch of interceptions early in his career.
Yeah, I mean, Kirk, I think, was worse.
Kirk took a while to be a good player in the league. What I'd say about Sam Howell is he has 11 completions as a pro. All right, this is preseason. And what I'm going to tell you about Josh Johnson versus Sam Howell last night, Cakes lauded the 123 quarterback rating for Sam Howell. Josh Johnson was at 122.
Yeah.
I mean, they had very similar performances.
I don't mention numbers. I'm not into the, I'm just
okay. Well, I'm just telling you that Josh Johnson threw nice balls, completed most of his passes, had a couple touchdowns.
Okay.
I do like to mention numbers, especially those of Jahan Dotson, who had 5 grabs for 76. I think
he's gonna be a big time target.
A big year.
Yeah.
I
think he's gonna throw it to Brown too when Brown's on the field.
Right.
Brown's his boy.
I watched the game closely. But we were playing poker at the same time, and I had headphones in, so I'm listening to everything. But I didn't realize Brown was targeted that many times to only come down with 2 of them. Where were some of the other can you give me some context on those? Did he have 4 drops?
I don't know.
No, I don't think so. Not when I saw it.
Targeted 6 or 7 times and only come down with 2 of them.
He's targeted 6 times.
Yeah.
2 grabs for 27.
That ain't great.
A couple of them, the DBs made good plays. I think one of them.
I don't remember.
I think one of them might have been an overthrow. I didn't see any drops unless I missed one.
Maybe some of them were from Fromm and Brissett.
But Commanders fans get used to Jahan Dotson leading the team in targets. Now, it wasn't by a lot. He had 7 and De'Ami Brown had 6. But I'm going to guess Dotson probably out-targets Terry McLaurin.
Well, especially if he misses a month. I'm nervous.
Well,
about
if you can somehow get a Jahan Dotson player prop over 700 receiving yards,
you just grab it.
I think you grab it and run. Yeah.
All right, let's go to Jeremiah in Fairfax. Jeremiah, what's up?
How y'all doing? Thanks for having me on. I'm good. So first of all, I just want to start off by saying I know it's a preseason game, but he still played well, so you can't do anything but be encouraged by that. So I'm encouraged by what Howell did. I think he'll be okay. At least I don't know if he'll be great, but I'm pretty sure he won't fall flat on his face. And something else I want to harken on real quick. I know he was never designated as a first-round pick type player, but still, I still think it's dumb that people either just don't acknowledge him as the potential to be great or whatever just because he was picked in the 5th round. That's just some GM's opinion. It's not like where someone gets drafted is the official ranking of the best rookies out of this class. That's just what some GM thought, and GMs are wrong all of the time. So, I don't know. Kenny Pickett is arguably not that much better than him. He got picked in the 1st round, and people just have hyper-fixated on Kenny Pickett 10 times more than Sam, and I just think it's dumb, this whole hype people up based on where they're drafted thing.
The narrative follows these people throughout their careers.
I mean, it's been that way for years.
It's always that way.
But I mean, I don't drill down on one guy having a negative opinion of him, but when every team passes on a player, not just Sam Howell, multiple times, generally there are some issues.
Well, look, the odds are, I heard this the other day, the odds of a first-round quarterback hitting is 50%. It gets lower and lower every round. That's just the way it is.
Yep.
So it's going to be part of the narrative until you actually perform well. Then you're the outlier.
Yeah,
because
but
the odds are,
but it'll take a while.
Yes,
because
the
people are going to
odds
still bring up the pick all year.
Yeah, but the odds are that fifth-round picks, they don't usually hit.
Right, and if they hit, they might be like backup material, second or third string.
I just think we harp on it too much, but I don't know. And I also think context is part of it. They had just signed Carson Wentz. If they didn't sign Carson Wentz or trade for him, whatever it was, they were on the hook for Carson Wentz for $28 million. If they didn't have him, and everyone else turned him down, they might have picked him in the third round.
Yeah, might have.
They might have. They just, they picked him with the first pick of the fifth round, basically fourth round. They might have picked him earlier if they didn't have Wentz. So, I don't know. And I can't speak for other teams. I don't know what other teams' situations
Personally,
were.
I'm a QB where you were picked snob. I'll never get past that. I'm a big fan of pedigree.
Well, I'm just looking at the standings right now.
If you buck that and defeat that,
but
being a fifth-round pick,
right? When do you let it go? Like 3 or 4 years into the career?
If he goes through a regular season,
like you don't hold it against Kirk Cousins anymore.
If he's the starting quarterback next year, then maybe you just let it go.
But I always realize
he's earned it.
that those guys are outliers.
I think everyone acknowledges that.
The 4th through 7th
but they might have an outlier.
Effective starters.
They
might have an outlier.
Well,
that's the point.
For Ron's sake, they better have one.
Yeah, they might have an outlier.
But it is a total outlier. I'm looking at the standings right now, just AFC. Tell me what round these guys are picked. Miami.
First.
Buffalo.
First.
New England.
First, even though he's kind of nubs.
Jets.
First round pick.
Steelers. Ravens. Cleveland Browns. Bengals. Jacksonville.
You're preaching to the choir.
Every one of them. Right. Until you get to where was Tannehill picked?
Tannehill was
second or third.
I think he was a second rounder. I have to go double check.
I mean, he's almost the entire AFC is first rounders.
Right.
Except for Russell Wilson, Tannehill, and then Jimmy G.
I just wish he was. Wish he was drafted in the third round so everyone would shut up. Like you could just be good or not.
Yeah.
JP's falling all over himself just to hate on Sam Howell. He's playing well. He's looking good.
I said that.
You're not, but every time you say something...
You're not listening.
I am.
I said you have to be
encouraged.
listening.
I'm listening to you marginalize everything he says. Everything you say about him. Comparing him to Josh Johnson. Nonstop.
He's just waiting
oh, by
for
the way,
him.
You have to be reasonable about it.
We were wrong on
Tannehill.
Tannehill. Tannehill was
the
the 8th pick in the draft. So
he was first pick?
He was a first rounder. Yep. Sorry.
Slept on that.
Context matters, Drab. Do you not acknowledge that context in a preseason
matters?
But
when Kenny Pickett drives up and down the field, it's, oh my God, don't sleep on the Steelers. Kenny Pickett looks great. Look what he did last year, and these 2 drives in the preseason.
Well, Kenny Pickett did in the regular season. He was one of the top-rated passers in the second half of the season.
I know, but you put more stock into what Kenny does, but when Sam does it...
It was in the regular season.
I'm just saying, when you talk about the preseason game...
It was in the regular season versus the preseason. How do you not see that difference?
Did you not talk about his pass to Freiermuth and how good it looked?
Yeah, but that's one pass, but he also has the regular season.
All right, and Sam played in the regular season, looked pretty good.
Right.
Everything we've seen of Sam, he looks pretty good.
I started off the segment saying every time you've seen him, he's looked pretty good. But he still only has 11 completions.
I know, but you still compare him to what Josh Johnson did.
Because that is comparing apples to apples. A preseason performance versus another preseason performance.
If he was, I wish he was drafted in the first round. If he was a first-round pick, nobody would have these questions.
True.
They would go, oh, man, he looks like a first-round pick.
He looks
good.
Yeah.
If he was a first-round pick, none of these questions would come up. The only reason why we're waiting for the other shoe to drop is because we're hung up on the fifth-round stuff. This guy here,
that's the
not
label.
hung up on the fifth-round stuff. I'm over that. What I'm seeing is this guy looks like he can play. How good is he going to be? No clue. But like John Keim said, he's already proven to me,
he doesn't,
John, he can play in the league.
He doesn't look lost.
No.
Yeah.
It doesn't look too big for him.
Right.
And I never thought it would. I thought he was a good fifth-round pick. In fact, when he was picked in the first pick of the fifth round, everybody was like, whoa, that's a pretty good pick.
But it is still a very, very small sample size. That's why I need to see it play out.
It is, and maybe he'll end up being the worst player in the history of the league. But so
mean,
far, it looks pretty good.
I mean, if he has a quarterback rating in the 90s and they're, a 500 team, I'd say, all right, I was wrong because he earned his spot and he'll probably be the starter next year. But, man, we got a long way to go. We got 5 months.
I know, but the only reason why you're saying that is because he's a fifth-round pick. If he was a first-round pick, you'd go, man, that's a good pick.
Well, I'm just basing it on history.
Yeah.
History usually doesn't lie.
Well,
just look at every fifth-round pick at quarterback.
I know.
You want me to give them to you?
No, I know
they're
that.
They're Brett Hundley and A.J. McCarron.
Mostly awful.
Yeah.
Of course, but those guys
It's Easton Stick.
All right, and did any of those guys start this way, this well, at the pro level? So far,
who knows?
pretty
I'm
much
sure
at every opportunity.
Some of those guys might have had good preseasons. I don't know.
Okay, but
I didn't study them in the preseason.
Yeah,
they were all good quarterbacks in college.
I just wish we could go back and draft him in the first round. Who did we draft in the first round last year? Vidarian Matt. We didn't even have one, right?
2 years ago.
Dotson.
Yeah, Dotson was the pick.
All right, I like Dotson.
Yeah, you don't want to give him up.
I don't want to give him up, but God, I wish we took him in the first round. Everyone would just zip it.
Would you punt Dotson for Sam Howell in the first round? I don't think so.
No, I want Dotson.
Right.
Dotson's a sure thing.